Hello to everyone on the internet, and you are watching Culture Shock, the only show on the internet that knows how to separate an issue of culture from an issue of politics. What's up, folks? I am back, and better than ever. Yes, I'm back, and better than ever. I am a very colorful individual. You know this. So the French army was making fun of Trump for skipping his World War I memorial date due to rain by going out and training in the rain, showing videos of training in the rain. And it says Monday Motivation with the hashtag Monday Motivation to make fun of Trump. The French have always cared more about their World War I memorials than anyone else. They're more up about it. Really, it shouldn't be an international thing. It should just be a purely French thing, a show of French patriotism, you could say. Yeah, is the rain scary, But I sort of agree with the French army, because you know what? Is the rain scary, Mr. President? Are you scared of the rain? Let me tell you a little something what it's like here in Washington, okay? Let me tell you a little something. On my Minds page, you will find a video called A Crazy Day of Rain. I want you to go there on Minds, Nathan of Washington, look under the video heading, and look there. And you will see, I think, something that would make Trump run and hide under the bed as far as rain, if he's scared of a little rain. Let's get serious here. Let's get serious. I think he was looking for an excuse to just not want to not do something. Just an excuse to not do something. And I think the Secret Service gave it to him, because the Secret Service were the one that were really worried about the rain. Let's get real here. I was just being funny. What I agree with the French army in is the fact that I agree that it should be a little funny. You know? It is kind of funny, and therefore is worthy of a joke or two. But they were worried that the helicopter might crash because the rain interfering with the operation of the vehicle. Now, I don't know much about helicopters, but I suppose that is possible. But I think that in Trump's case, I think he was just looking for an excuse to not do it, and then the Secret Service went and they gave him one. You know, I think he's evading something. I understand it's silly, and I think it should just be a French-only thing, because they care about it way more than anyone else does. Anyway, moving on. Ireland has now established the first women's professorships. Yes, they will now be women's-only professorships in Ireland. Tell you, women today do not know what real misogyny is. They didn't live through the suffrage era. They are not suffragettes. They know nothing of the true trials of women. Nowadays, they're complaining about things like manspreading and mansplaining. Trust me, the old school suffragette feminists, if they were alive today, they'd be on our side. Ireland just needs to avoid diversity and liberalism and globalism. It'll be the end of us all. This will destroy Ireland. This will do more damage to Ireland than the divide between the North and the South. Between, you know, the IRA and the frickin' Protestant Christians and the devout Catholics. Moving on. China is postponing a laxing of its ban on poaching of tigers and rhinos specifically. when various animal rights groups started mobilizing in China, a country where animal rights violations are massive. In their culture, their government's actually been against it for a long time. I will give communism this. It makes people miserable and sometimes straight up ruins their lives. But when it comes to caring for the planet, communism is much better at it than capitalism. Certainly. But forcing people to share stuff is not good. But admittedly, this is an area where they truly succeed. Because China's not being huge dicks about something for once. They're actually doing the right thing here. Because those species are nearly extinct thanks to poaching. And have you seen the Chinese police and how they enforce? Oof, the stuff of nightmares. Run! Flee! Save yourself! Well, that in India, too. Indian constabularies are legendarily brutal. Sometimes I think the best way to get people to obey a law, I honestly think, is just to scare them half to death of the consequences. And I know that's not a very libertarian thing to say of me. That's the political ideology I follow. But admittedly, some laws would still be in place, and there would still be a place for police officers. So, I think a little fear might be a good thing. Oh, you might call that an abusive relationship. I call that positive, because they'd only be abusing criminals and not the common people. But one of the animal rights groups was the WWF. Yep. The World Wrestling Federation. I mean, the World Wildlife Fund. I mean, I don't know what I mean. Oh, yeah. China's supporting the animal rights. They're keeping the animals alive and defending them from the poachers. Poachers, you don't know where I'm coming from. Poaching is dead. Yeah, that was the main group that made this all possible by hitting the poachers with steel chairs. I mean, protesting outside of major government buildings. And let's get real here. Let's get serious. Let's get back on a serious note about why the preservation of nature is important. Because simply put, without it, you could not live. We need to stop pretending we are above nature, or better than it, or beyond it. We need to realize that nature is literally everything, and we need to live in relative harmony with it, and stop damaging it. The way humanity exists right now, we are basically parasites. And until something changes, I think nature itself will probably treat us like parasites. The checks and balances will inevitably go against us. Moving on. Arya Sato, a Japanese woman, stabbed her American boyfriend, a master sergeant stationed in Japan, recently. Because they were apparently breaking up and she didn't want to end the relationship. She couldn't let him go, so she killed him. Real nice, classy, cool. Hey, I'm glad you had something good going for you, but you didn't need to go out and... But when that good thing was ending, you didn't need to go out and murder a guy. Absolutely reprehensible. Moving on. The police fatally shot security guard Jamal Robertson, who was who was holding down a gunman. You know, he had him down on the ground with his gun pointed at him until the police arrived. But when the police showed up, all they saw was a gun. A guy with a gun, and they thought that he was the shooter. Even though everyone screamed, "He was a security guard! He's a security guard!" And he's wearing the fucking hat, the big hat with the word security right on it. Fucking dumbasses shot him anyway. It's like, what is with this? Don't they just aim their gun and say drop it anymore? Or freeze? They just shoot right away? Until they can ascertain what the situation really is? The fuck's going on with the police departments? Bad police training. Lazy and incompetent. The officer who shot him should be permanently removed from the service. Permanently fired as a police officer, never to return to active duty until they get this shit under control. Make that the new policy. Moving on. The Woolsey wildfire in California has grown in size and has recently disturbed a nuclear test site. A former nuclear test site. In fact, there's reason to believe there could be some nuclear particulate in the air as a result of the fire, as the wind and fire spreads it. This is a place in Cali where they used to test like rockets and missiles and other powered nuclear weapons. So yeah, shit's getting crazy down in California with these wildfires. Again, I warn, if you live in Washington or Oregon, pay attention and keep your ears out for any air pollution warnings. Stay alive, people. And it's about damn time California get on this with, you know, water bombs and sand and firefighters galore. Moving on. Here in America, there's been a rise of anti-Semitism to 37%. 37%. 37% of what? I keep finding these percentages, but of what? Are they saying by a factor of 37% or to a total of 37%? I don't... The FBI is weird, man. I don't get them. Black and white supremacists both hate Jews. They admit it. They both hate them. And they are participating in a lot of these events. There are white supremacists and neo-Nazis as well as new Black Panthers on the internet. It's a minority that you can find them, but they are out there. So unfortunately, this is one of the few things that the far left is right on. I know, I've run afoul of these people, if you can call them people. I would struggle to. So I'd say a lot of it is just their rise in membership and increase in their behavior. Anyway, that's it for your Culture Shock News. I'm back, bitches. Cheers.